everyone.
Howdy, my name is Cade Taylor and I play football here at Henderson State. Today I would like to talk to you about football. I think this topic is important because football is turning into America's pastime. Three things I would like to discuss today are: one, the history of football; two, the positions of football; and three, the health effects that football has on the body. Moving on to my first point. Football is loosely based off the early stages of rugby, but the rule changes by Walter Charles, it is now turned into the game we know today. We're going to be focusing on pro football right now. So in 1920, the AAC, which is the first ever league, was introduced, but it was changed 2 years later to the National Football League, or the NFL, that we know today. In 1932 is really when the modern era of football occurred, because it's when the first indoor game with hash marks was played. In 1958 is when football really started to pick up with the public. In 1958, the proclaimed greatest game ever was played, and that's when the NFL was put into the limelight, which caused a lot of people with a lot of money to invest in football, which happened to make another league, the AFL. The AFL put so much competition onto the NFL, there actually happened to be a merger. The merger caused the Super Bowl, which is the biggest televised event in the U.S. Moving on to my second point, which is the positions of football. I'm going to be talking about the offense first, and then the defense. Offensive line, which is starts out with the center. The center snaps the football to blocks, which goes to the guard, which is right next to them. So center, two guards, and two tackles. The center is usually the smallest of the O-linemen. Guard is usually a bit bigger, and the tackle's the biggest. They block for the quarterback, who usually throws the ball or hands it off to the running back. The quarterback throws it to the wide receiver or hands it off to the running back. The running back tries to run the ball to gain as many yards as possible, and if the wide receiver gets the ball, he catches it and tries to get as many yards as possible. There also happens to be a tight end, which can either be a hybrid of a lineman and a wide receiver, so it blocks and catches passes. Moving on to the defense, there's defensive linemen, so they try to stop the running back from gaining yards, and they try to get past the offensive linemen. Linebackers do the same thing, they're just a bit smaller, a bit faster, a bit more agile. Cornerbacks, they cover the wide receivers so they don't get open, so they can't catch a pass. Safeties do the exact same thing, just more open field. Going on to special teams, there's a kicker and a punter. A kicker tries to kick the ball through the field goal, which results in 3 points. And the punter, if you go 3 now, then you punt the ball away, and wherever they catch the ball is where they get it. Moving on to my third point, which is the bodily effects that football has on the body. Head injuries happen very often, including concussions and CTE. These are the most basic, and they're the most common because football is a very physical sport and you get hit in the head a lot. It's very bad because it not only hurts the football players themselves, but the families of the football players and the people they love. And then there's obesity and there's eating disorders. These happen because just the physical ability that they're trying to get. They're trying to either get as big as possible or as small as possible, as fast. In conclusion, I talked to you today about the history of football, the positions of football, and the bodily effects that football has on the body. In the great words of Vince Lombardi, life is like football. It requires relentlessness, toughness, and hard work.